PLR, email marketing, how do you get those two together? Well, believe it or not, there's a way that you can use a PLR method, templates, and building your email list. Without an email list, you're really dead in the water. I have a guest today. It's Liz Wilcox. She teaches people how to grow their email list, create an email list, how to make money with their emails, and you really have to see this. She's one of my favorite people about email list building, and I use these services weekly and for almost no money. I'm telling you, this is the real deal, and she's the real deal. I'm Brian Toder with PLR Ideas, where I talk about PLR, use PLR, and how to make money with PLR. And be sure to get my PLR checklist. There's a link in the description. Click on it, get to this page, and get this amazing checklist on how to find the best PLR, how to create products, and make money with PLR. So get the checklist, click on that link, get on the email list, get the checklist, and you're in. Today's guest is Liz Wilcox, and she's one of my favorite people online about using email. She's an expert. Now, she started with zero, and now she has an amazing, successful business using email. Now, you may think that this is a PLR YouTube channel. Why am I talking about email? Because what she teaches, it uses the same skills as PLR. So I'd like to introduce Liz Wilcox and listen to her. I mean, really listen to what she says. So Liz, who are you? What do you do? And why am I talking to you?
Uh, what's up, friends? My name's Liz Wilcox, and you know that feeling you get when you join a webinar or you listen to an awesome podcast like Brian's, and there's some crazy person, usually dressed kind of funny, and they're ranting and raving about email marketing, and they're telling you, oh my gosh, for every dollar you spend with email, you can get $40 in return. Like, go, go, go. So you get super hyped up, you log into Active Campaign, MailChimp, something like that. And then you promptly feel kind of stupid because you have no idea what to say. Well, I help eliminate that problem. I teach entrepreneurs, small business owners, e-commerce, all that jazz, how to actually write emails that don't suck and don't suck up your time.
Yeah, I love email. I've been using it since, in the internet where it wasn't even called email. I remember asking, what's the E mean? That's how long ago this was. And
Wow.
yeah.
He's an OG, folks.
Yeah, older guy, but it's, getting emails together, a whole system. And I can just imagine that most people they want to do it, or they get started, they buy a course and they look at it and they throw up their hands and just think, maybe this isn't for me. Because
Yeah.
it's a process, and it's something you have to learn. It's like, I guess it's like learning how to dance or piano. This is a whole skill. So if I wanted to start an email list with my business and I don't know what to do, I'm at zero. Let's say it's at
Yeah.
zero. What do I do? And why do I even have to do this?
Yeah. So first, to Brian's point about email feeling really heavy, I want you to really just, I don't know, give yourself a permission slip. If you don't have one, here, I'm writing one down for you. I'll hand it over. For it to be simple. Email marketing, a lot of people don't do it because it feels hard. And so everything that I'm going to share today was filtered through creating a business in the margins of life. I was a traveling, like full-time traveler with a kid, with a husband, and everything that I created was when I had crappy internet and maybe 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. So there's a few things that I want to start off saying, like when you're building your list, don't stress about having to have multiple freebies or, especially as content creators, a lot of people will say, oh, you got to have a content upgrade here and something over here, and everything's got to segue perfectly into whatever you just were talking about. Don't stress about multiple freebies. I don't want you to stress about paid ads. And I want you to not give up because, like Brian said, it's like a dance. It is a long-term game, but that doesn't mean, dancing is fun. Most people, given the right circumstance, really enjoy dancing. So, don't give up on yourself. Don't overcomplicate things. And very long-winded answer about how to get started with list building, come at it with that mindset. And really how I've built 3 email lists is the very first thing I do is just go and I create a landing page, in my email service provider. Get yourself one, MailChimp, ConvertKit, AdCampaign, just pick one. I don't care. And create a landing page where you can get people to sign up for your list and post on social media. Hey, I'm doing this new thing. If you don't know anything about Liz Wilcox, I'm very 90s themed. I love the 90s. So maybe, hey, I'm starting a new NSYNC blog. It's going to be all, staying up to date on what the guys are doing now. If you're still obsessed with the 90s and NSYNC, the same way you were in January 2000, join this list. And I don't have a freebie, nothing, just get going, just get those early adopters on the list. And that's just enough, a little bit of a motivation, even if you get 1 or 2 people, especially if you're doing the NSYNC thing, that's pretty niche nowadays.
Yeah.
But just getting those initial people is going to give you enough motivation to actually then come up with an opt-in.
Okay. Now, you talked about an opt-in page, a landing page. I use GetResponse. And which is really neat, they have landing pages. You don't need a website. You could use that, right?
Right. Yeah, that's
And
the
just
beauty.
opt in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beauty of an email service provider, ESP, is you don't really need a website to get going to collect email addresses. I did the exact same thing as Brian. I just opened up my ConvertKit, created the landing page, and got going. When my very first email list, I actually was collecting email addresses with a WordPress plugin. So I didn't know about ESPs yet. And so I was creating the website. It wasn't fully built out, but I had this, it was like, collect email addresses. That I don't know if that was the name of the WordPress plugin, but it was something really simple. And it just, it was like literally join Liz's newsletter on RV travel. And that's how I got my first 100 signups.
When you're at the beginning and you have like one person on your list and it's just your mom, and
correct,
and that's
been
it.
there.
You're looking at this blank screen, and what do you do? The advice that I always give people is just get started. You're at the bottom of the hill and you're looking at the top of this thing and going, how am I going to get up there? The whole secret, I guess, is just get started. So if I was getting started, Liz, and I used GetResponse, so I would use that, and I don't know what to do. I guess I created a list. Now what do I do? Like, what do I do?
So you've got a few people on your list, you're saying, Brian?
Let's say you and my mom.
Okay. Well, I would certainly try to get more people on there. Again, just posting on Facebook. Hey, I've got this new list. Da 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 da. Join if you are XYZ and need help with ABC. And then I would just start really networking. The thing about list building is it goes hand in hand with visibility. Nobody's going to sign up for your list if nobody knows about you. This is not a hip hop concert where the hype man is coming out and he's, telling all the great things about you to get people on your list, right? You have to be that person. So spending some time in Facebook groups where, you can share your knowledge and people can, befriend you and you can start growing from there. Creating content and putting it on Pinterest or Instagram or wherever, right? Visibility and list building, they're not the same, but they're kind of like Mary Kate and Ashley. They're very, very, they look just about the same. So that I suggest, creating that freebie once you get rolling and then, putting it out there, but putting it out there in fun ways. Again, email can feel like this grind, but finding the fun in it allows you to keep going. So for me, I love talking about emails. So podcasting, getting on amazing shows like Brian's, finally, yay, I made it. Is a great way for me to get that visibility and hopefully, at the end, get the right people to sign up for my list. For you, that might sound terrifying. You might, I'll never be on a podcast, but your comfortability, your, zone of comfort might be writing. So you reach out and you do some guest blogging, or you might be really good at design. So you decide, okay, Pinterest is where it's at because I like making the pins, figuring out when, you can Google all day about list building, but picking not the one that everybody recommends, but the one that feels like, okay, yes, I could do that. That feels a little bit fun is really going to is going to be where you see some traction.
That's neat. Now the YouTube channel that I have, you're watching, is PLR Ideas, and it's all about using PLR and creating products out of it. So maybe someone who wants to build an email list, because in the internet marketing, that's like the thing. You got to have an email list, otherwise you're dead in the water. And I know what that's like. So my listeners, my watcher, my audience, use the PLR, create a small lead magnet, put it on Facebook. Here's a free thingamajig. Click on here, get on the list, and start talking to them. Now, to get a little complicated, there are two ways actually there's three ways to communicate with them with an email. You could just send them an email. Just send it now. Send it, boom. You can automate it, or you can use an autoresponder. So is that complicating or
no? So really, if you are watching or listening and you're like, okay, yeah, Brian, you are complicating it. What he's trying to say, I think is, once, Mom, Liz, so-and-so get on the email list, we've got to start talking to them, right? And so I just recommend a welcome sequence. Some people call it an autoresponder. Some people call it a nurture sequence. But basically, it's like, okay, Brian and I, we sit down at the table at a conference, we shake hands, we show interest in each other. What is the conversation that we are having at that table? That's the welcome sequence. In general, I teach people to get people on your list, right? Followers onto the list, and then you can turn them into a friend. And once you have a list full of friends, you can basically just, ask them, hey, do you need this PLR thing? Like, is this your jam this week? Is this the one you're looking for? And turn them into customers. And you do that very easily. You build that friendship with a proper welcome sequence, which is an autoresponder, something that, automatically sends out to build that relationship for you.
Now, writing emails, I guess it's an issue for a lot of people. Well, I don't know how to write. What if I don't know what to talk about? And that, it's funny. That's the biggest question I always get is, well, what do I talk about? It's like, what do I? So if it was me and I'm just starting out and I don't know what to write, it's Monday. And what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Liz?
Yeah, this is such a great question. So hopefully you're watching the YouTube video because I'm going to pull it up. So remember, I talked about the how to turn followers into customers. So I called the email staircase. First, you've got a follower, get those people on the list. We talked about that. turn them into a friend, and then you can turn them into a customer. But the whole, even at the top of the hour, I was like, well, you promptly feel stupid because you have no idea what to say. So treat it as a friend. And there's only 3 things you need to do. And you need to filter the what do I say question through to make it really simple to write newsletters, to write that welcome sequence. So to make a friend, the first thing you got to do is just invest. Show that you are invested in the people on your email list. You could even say something like, oh my gosh, I just listened to Brian and Liz on how to write better emails. From here on out, hopefully they'll be better. You could say, I just spent an hour on this new ebook that I'm going to turn into a PLR thing. Can't wait for you to see it, right? Talking about what you're doing in the business, showing that you are invested in your work, invested in them, is going to help them invest back into you. Nobody buys from a company that they think is garbage, right? So if you can show that you're invested in them, it's going to make it so much easier for them to invest back into you, for them to open the emails, reply, click, purchase when you ask, right? Number 2 is just share in a relatable way. Now, we use the word relatable on purpose. Right now, you're probably, trying to relate to me in some way. You heard about, I started the conversation with, oh, you sit down and you feel stupid. That's a relatable thing, right? And spoiler alert, this is actually the simplest thing to do in your emails because people want to connect with other people. We are a herd type of species, right? We want to be together. We want to build community. So notice I'm not telling you to share stories. Stories feels like a very heavy weight, right? Suddenly our 10th grade English teacher is in the back, like beginning, middle, end, thesis. Don't you dare say anything at the end that you didn't mention in that first paragraph. So forget that. Just share it in a relatable way. And you can do this through a personal update. Just 2 to 3 sentences about something that you've done since the last time you emailed, right? I already said one. Oh, I just listened to Liz and Brian talk about email, or I just walked my dog, or for me personally, I have low vitamin C, so I have to go get injections of vitamin C. I could say, oh, I'm feeling so much better because I got my vitamin C right today. We all know, like suddenly you're thinking of the Flintstone gummies from your childhood that your mom used to make you take. And oh yeah, maybe next time I go to the grocery store, I should buy some vitamin C. It's very easy to share in a relatable way. And again, that word relatable doesn't have to be super interesting, right? Most things in life are pretty darn relatable. And then the third thing, and this is the thing that most people, yep, I'm out. Liz, you had me. You had some silly slides. Okay, that's great, but I'm out. Stay top of mind. You have to be consistent in your emails. That is just a fact. But staying top of mind doesn't mean you have to email every single day. It doesn't even mean you have to email every single week. I skipped a couple weeks ago because my family was in town and I went to Disney. Nobody forgot about Liz Wilcox, especially when you invest, when you show you're invested, when you share in a relatable way. Staying top of mind is actually easier. People are making those connections with you, so you can skip a few weeks, if that happens to be what happens. I don't want you to feel like this is, an unbearable weight. Start out like anything else, once a month, and, see what happens.
You're right. There's so many concerns with people who are trying to build an email list or online business. It's like, well, what do I write? How often do I write? And even the experts, there's an email expert that she said, oh, you have to email every day. And I was getting these emails every day, and all of a sudden she stopped. So it happens to everybody. And the funny thing is, people don't just fall off the face of the earth. And I haven't emailed. I emailed something, I think one time last week. I was too busy. I was putting a swing dance together for this past weekend. It was amazing. But it doesn't have to be consistent all the time. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. I
Yeah.
mean, again, like if you show that you're invested when you do show up, if you are relatable, that top of mind situation, you can have that flexibility. And, it's like going to the gym, you go once, you go twice, you don't give up because you skip a couple weeks.
Right.
You just go when you can, and you're going to see those improvements, right? Even
Yeah.
if it is just once a month, you build up that muscle, you build up that habit. And honestly, just like going to a dance class, it might be awkward at first. You're going to
Mhm.
stumble. Maybe you quit and you come back. The more you go and the more you learn those moves, so to speak, the more fun you're going to have. And
I
that's
agree.
what I love about email is it actually can be fun. It's real people. You meet, it's a more
Mhm.
intimate channel where people have real conversations, much different than social media. And when you get your first, I don't know, sort of hit of that, you're hooked for sure.
It's so much fun. And back to the question, well, what do I write about? Personally, I use a couple of methods. I use templates, I use swipe files, or I wake up in the morning and I think, what do I want to talk about? What just happened last week with this? Or there's something interesting, and I'll do a whole series about that. However, I guess the easiest way to do this is templates, like what you do. So, what do
Oh,
you
thank you.
do? Well, I met you because I don't know where. Oh, I think it was a stack, like a BC stack, and I think you worked on that.
Okay.
And I got into your membership. If you have a cup of coffee, what is it? It's
It's
like
$9 a
yeah,
month
$9
for
for
my
crying out
membership.
loud. So what is it?
Yeah, so Brian is talking about email marketing membership. That is a weekly newsletter template. So if you're like, oh, Liz, I'm with you. I know email is important, but I just don't have time, or it seems really complicated, and I simply don't have the bandwidth to untangle this knot in my head. I actually write a weekly newsletter template, like Brian was saying, that you can take and make your own. It's got a video walkthrough because as much as we like to think we outgrow like being a toddler, everybody wants to know why. Why would I send this type of email? How does it help me climb that email staircase you keep talking about, Liz? So I give a video walkthrough, and I also give 2 swipe examples. So you get the template, which is a true Mad Libs fill in the blank type of situation. And then you get swipes, A+ examples of what this would look like depending on what kind of business you had. So I just wrote one this morning, and I think the first one, what the first example was from a travel blogger's perspective,
Right.
and the second was from an e-commerce brand. So very different. And I also try to write them in different tones. I think a couple weeks ago I wrote one from the perspective of a rabbi, so it was a very like faith-based, like calming type of tone, very much not like Liz Wilcox. So you can see yourself in the templates, and that's $9 a month. And I love offering it at that price because when you're first starting out, I know email is the thing that's going to get you, from where you are right now to where you want to be. But I also know a lot of other marketers know the value of email, know that too. And so they charge really wild prices, which
Oh
of
yeah.
course I believe it's worth it. But when you're starting out, and you have to choose between, okay, do I buy groceries? Do I pay the WordPress bill? Do I, you know, whatever you got going on over here in the real world, I know it can be really hard to invest that money. So I wanted to really lower the barrier to entry.
Yeah.
And so it's $9 a month. It's been $9 a month for almost 2 years now. Unless USD plummets tomorrow, I don't see the price going up. I love offering it at that rate to get true beginners
Yeah.
in there and going.
I use it, people. I use it. I really do. I opened it up today, and and I started using today's email. So it's every week, right? You get a template
Yes,
every week. So
every
you get
single week, even on Christmas.
four, four for $9. So I'm going to put a link below this video. Click on it, and use it. Don't just get it and just look at it. Use it and practice. And you know what? Even if you're writing an email and no one really sees it, do it anyway just to practice and get used to it. And it's a lot of fun. It's easy. I use the template. I make the initial email, and then I make another one for tomorrow. And if I want to do 5 days, I just want to talk about what I wrote about yesterday. And then maybe I have a response. So I talk about that person. That guy emailed me this, he asked me a question. And I'm emailing and talking about the email, and it's $9. And for 4 weeks, you get 4 of these. So it's almost free. And it's embarrassingly, it's embarrassingly free.
I gotta put that on the sales page. It's almost free. You heard it here first. Yeah, I one of my longest members, he says, I use it like Liz is my kind of like a VA, like a virtual assistant, except she's a VA with extreme marketing experience. So not only is she writing something, she's also doing all the, market research. She's spent her life in email. She knows what she's doing. And I think he said it's something like $2.25 a week on average for, the marketing experience, all that. So inside the membership as well, I talked about my email staircase. There's a full, I think it's like an hour and a half email staircase training where I walk you through what exactly to put in the welcome sequence. There's a full list building training. I think that's another hour where we go through all of those things. We talk about, what would your ideal opt-in be for your ideal people? And so that alone, as a beginner, if you're like, oh, I'm not ready for the templates, sold separately, that's like $24. You would get in and get those immediately for free. And that's where I suggest everyone start. And that's going to give you a more large scale knowledge of email marketing versus what we can do, right here on this recording.
And this is virtually PLR. So you come up with a template, you have the rights to reuse it. Now,
yes,
you want to change it, you want to put your own voice into it, put your name in it, and just change it just like a PLR. And make an email. Start with one a week, so you get 4 a month. It really is virtually free. It's embarrassingly free.
That's so funny. I can't tell you guys how many times I've argued with my business coach and, friends like Brian about, oh, Liz, what do you think? $10, $11, like 18, but it really just brings me so much joy to offer it at a low price. When I started off, I really didn't have any money to invest, and so, but I knew email was the way to go. I really believed people when they said, for every buck, you can get 40. I was like, what? That's like printing money. I've got to figure this thing out. And I know I was blessed to be a writer first and foremost. Right. And I know that's not everyone's, bag. So I was like, oh yeah, $9. I really want this to be a no brainer. So people can just, it's a quick start. And eventually maybe one day, like Brian, you take one and you can create another 4 on your own. Or at this point, I think there's like 150 templates in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there's you get access to the entire library, and the membership at the time of this recording is like 21 months old. And I really do create them every single week. So the options are limitless. It's not just newsletters. There's sales emails in there, emails to teach you how to get people to reply, emails to get people to click, to just connect, etc. I just love it so much. Thanks for letting me talk about it.
I forgot. So if you get it for $9, you can also go last year's. You can get all of that and use them for $9. So let's wrap this up. Anything else they should know?
Yeah, so Brian's going to put the link to EMM is the name of it down below. But if you just are, you just want to test the waters and you want to see some samples first, in the top right-hand corner, there's going to be a hot pink button. You're going to get some free email templates. You'll get that entire welcome sequence we were talking about is so important. You'll get that already written for you. Take and make it your own. You also get 3 newsletter samples directly from the membership in there. One to get you to people to click, one to get people to reply, and one to get people to buy. Those are directly from EMM. And if that's not enough, I know writing from scratch totally sucks. So you also get 52 subject lines for free. That is actually free. You can check all that out if you're one of those people that needs samples first, or you can get Brian's link right below and start off for $9.
Yeah, do that. You're a good egg. You really are.
Oh,
you're
thank you
really,
so much. Oh.
Yeah, it's yeah, and I'm glad that I know you, and just from this, that it really, I'm in your club. I'm on your Facebook page and the whole schmeal. It's a lot of fun. So thanks a lot. This was a real hoot.
Thank you. I can't wait to see what everybody does with email.
Okay, so I hope this video worked. And there you go. So I'm Brian Toder with Liz Wilcox with PLR Ideas. We'll talk soon.